Hey friends, welcome to the channel. Are you struggling to stay productive while learning a new language, or you feel like you're not making progress? This video provides practical tips and strategies to help you boost your productivity and make steady progress towards your language learning goals. Los geht's! My name is Dustin. I'm an IT project manager from Germany. On this channel we create content that helps us to be productive, to learn new things, especially languages, and to live a happier and more fulfilling life. Today I will share with you 3 practical productivity hacks that will help you with your language learning. These techniques are suited for all levels, allowing you to make the most of your study time and make faster progress. We'll explore the importance of practicing speaking, using active recall and leveraging spaced repetition. So let's dive into today's, wait. First, a nice sip of coffee, and again an iced coffee because it's so hot. Let's dive into today's topic. Speaking is a highly effective way to improve your language skills and is essential if you want to become fluent. While reading, writing and listening are all important, speaking is the only way to truly interact with the language and practice producing it in real time. However, speaking in a foreign language can be intimidating and uncomfortable, especially if you're afraid of making mistakes or being judged by others. This fear is natural and has evolutionary roots. Our ancestors needed to fit in with their social group to survive, so being judged negatively by others was a serious threat. But in today's world, the fear of speaking in a foreign language is irrational and unfounded. Nobody will harm you or think less of you if you make mistakes while speaking a foreign language. In fact, people are often impressed by those who are trying to learn their language and will be more than happy to help you to improve. One of the best ways to overcome the fear of speaking is to simply start speaking. Practice with a language partner, a tutor, or even by talking to yourself in the mirror. Don't worry about making mistakes, they are an essential part of the learning process. Embrace them, learn from them, and move on. If you ask yourself how to start, I've already made a video about that and I will also link it somewhere here most likely. Speaking is also a cognitively challenging activity that can help improve your memory, focus, and overall cognitive ability. It requires you to retrieve vocabulary and grammar rules from memory, formulate sentences on the spot, and monitor your speech for accuracy and clarity. The more you practice, the better you become at these skills. When you speak in a foreign language, you use not only your active vocabulary, so words you can actively recall and use, but also active your passive vocabulary, so words you understand but may not use often or at all. So if you're serious about learning a foreign language, make speaking practice a regular part of your routine. Aim to speak regularly, even if it's just to yourself or a language learning app. It's one of the most effective ways to improve your language skills and to get on the path to fluency. Another indispensable technique for effective language learning is the practice of active recall. Active recall involves actively retrieving information from memory instead of passively reviewing it. This technique engages your brain in the process of actively recalling and reconstructing the information, which strengthens the neural connections associated with that knowledge and enhances long-term retention. When it comes to language learning, active recall is super useful to improve various aspects such as vocabulary, grammar, and pronunciation. Instead of relying solely on reading or listening to language materials, actively recalling and producing the words, phrases, and grammar rules helps solidify them in your memory. By actively engaging in exercise like recalling vocabulary definitions, forming sentences, or even having conversations, you're not only reinforcing your language skills but also improving your fluency and confidence. But of course, those activities take way more energy, and I would still read and listen to content to just let the language sink in and assimilate it. Nevertheless, if you combine the two, you'll have the best of both worlds. The discovery and development of spaced repetition as a learning technique can be attributed to the pioneering work of psychologist and memory researcher Hermann Ebbinghaus. In the late 19th century, Ebbinghaus conducted extensive experiments on human memory, particularly focusing on the forgetting curve and the effects of repetition. His groundbreaking research laid the foundation for understanding how memory retention declines over time. By strategically spacing out your practice sessions and revisiting learned material at gradually increasing intervals, you can significantly enhance your long-term memory. This powerful method leverages the brain's natural tendency to retain information more effectively when reviewed at the right moment. Many language learning apps such as LingQ, Memrise, and also Duolingo use spaced repetition algorithms to help learners learn new vocabulary and grammar structures. These algorithms are designed to show you a word or phrase just before you are about to forget it, helping you to remember it more effectively. The process of spaced repetition works by presenting learners with a flashcard or question and then asking them to recall the answer. If the learner answers correctly, the interval until the next review is increased. If the learner answers incorrectly, the interval until the next review is decreased. This way, learners spend more time reviewing difficult or unfamiliar material while spending less time on material that they already know well. It's good to know that if you are, for example, reading in your target language and every time you stumble upon a word you don't know and you try to translate it, or if not possible, look it up, you also have a kind of spaced repetition. And this is what I like about reading and listening to stuff, which can be highly motivating because you can use content that is truly interesting and captivating, like especially for you. By using spaced repetition, nevertheless, we can optimize our study time by focusing on the areas where we need to work on the most, while also reinforcing our knowledge of previously learned material. To take your language learning to the next level, incorporating speaking exercises is crucial. Speaking not only helps you develop fluency and pronunciation, but also reinforces the phrases and sentences you've learned. By actively using the language in conversations, you engage in active recall, retrieving the vocabulary and grammar structures from memory. To further strengthen your learned phrases and sentences, you can leverage spaced repetition and active recall further by integrating them into Anki decks or similar flashcard apps. This approach allows you to review and reinforce the language content at strategic intervals, optimizing your long-term retention. By regularly practicing with these flashcards, you reinforce the neural connections associated with the learned material and also enhance your ability to recall and apply it in real-life situations. So, activating passive vocabulary. Additionally, there are language learning apps like Speakly, for example, that specialize in improving speaking abilities through active recall and spaced repetition. And these apps provide interactive exercises, simulate conversations, and also feedback to enhance your speaking skills. By practicing speaking in a structured and guided manner, you reinforce your language knowledge and also gain confidence in using the language. If you want to know more about this app in particular, like Speakly, I've already made a video about that and I will also link it somewhere here. All in all, it's about having the right system and the right routines in place. Try to learn each day a bit and enjoy the journey. If you hate flashcards and it really turns you away from learning at all, then you shouldn't use them. We are not at school anymore and learning a language is a marathon, not a sprint. I would always try to first consume lots of input to build up your comprehension and then only use the previously mentioned techniques to augment your learning. Except, of course, speaking. If you want to be able to speak, you have to speak at some point. Of course, the basics you can probably teach yourself, but at some point you will need to speak. Please let me know in the comments down below if you like this video and which other techniques you are using to learn a foreign language. And if you want to know more about other language learning techniques, I have a playlist for that. Or if you want to dig deeper into comprehensible and compelling input, there's also a playlist for that as well. Also, please make sure to leave me a like and a subscription to the channel, and to not miss anything going forward, click on the notification bell. Thank you so much for watching and see you the next time.